Hello, welcome, and thank you very much for buying this DVD. My name is Andy Ford and I love comedy. But more than that, I love comedians, good comedians. No matter what the style, I just adore the art of the comedy performer. Now, I've been doing stand-up comedy for over 33 years and I'm still learning. The beauty of comedy is you never really get to know it all. You can't. It's impossible. The longer you do it, the more you learn. Now, I've been very lucky in my professional career, performing on some of the biggest stages alongside some great stars. I even performed at the Royal Variety Performance in front of Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II and Prince Philip. But I'm a beginner. When you think of it, George Burns, the brilliant American comedian, was still doing stand-up at the age of 90. And if he's still around, I'm sure Ken Dodd would do exactly the same. On this video, I'm going to share with you my personal take on the art of comedy, giving you my hints and tips for creating jokes, comedy routines, a comedic persona, and we might even touch on the holy grail of comic timing. Also, we'll be watching some stand-up by yours truly to demonstrate how to put the techniques and skills described on this video into action. What I hope to be is a useful accessory to help you find the comedy that you're looking for. This is not just for the potential stand-up comedian, but hopefully some of the advice will help you if you have a speech to do at, say, a works function or a wedding or a presentation, because a lot of the skills are similar. Let's start with a computer analogy. If the human being, namely you, is the computer's hardware, then the persona of the comic is the software that runs your comedy system. Without the software, none of the programs, in this case jokes, will work. Now, I believe it helps to create your own strong comedy character. Remember that presentation is always at least 80% of any performance. And all styles of personality require warmth and audience acceptance. Max Miller, a genius of a comedian from the 1940s, gave this piece of advice to a young aspiring comedian. When you come onto the stage, give them a chance to look at the suit, then flash them the smile before you launch into your spiel. In other words, give them a chance to like you first. They won't laugh if they don't like you. Okay, comic persona. Whether you're going to be a miserable character like Jack D, hyper like Robin Williams, Lee Evans, Jim Carrey, clever like Bob Monkhouse, cruel and patronizing like Jimmy Carr, believe in your character. And that's why I would suggest keeping your stage persona as close as possible to the real you. It could be a hyper version of you or maybe a downbeat one, but keep it close enough to home that you feel an affinity with the character. Having said that the comedian is the most important element in comedy, good gags are required to keep the audience laughing, interested, and motivated. The general rule of thumb is a laugh about every 30 seconds. This doesn't always require a gag with a payoff, of course. It could be a physical movement, such as a stage trip, or maybe a flashback to something that happened earlier in the show. My biggest tip would be only do gags that make you laugh. If you don't find them funny, it's not likely the audience will either. There are many wonderful books on the market about comedy writing. A particularly good one is The Comedy Writer's Workbook by Gene Perrette, a guy who used to write for Bob Hope. One of the techniques he employs is for you to make a list of the subject matters that you're trying to find comedy from. So, for example, if you're trying to write a topical joke about two items in the news, maybe there's a big story about fur coats, there's a big story about the selling of new cars, then you'd put your title, fur coat, at the top of the page, new cars at the top of this page, and then you write a list of words and expressions that you think refer to a fur coat. For example, a fur coat to me would be expensive. If you could afford a fur coat, you could probably also afford jewelry. Where would you keep the fur coat? In a wardrobe. So write a list of 50, 60. On this side, new car. Where would you first see your new car? In a showroom. Where would you like to drive your new car? On the motorway. And where would you keep your new car? In a garage. And then write a list about 50 or 60. Then cross-reference. Look at the things that are similar and the things that are different to find your comedy. Here's a simple gag that could come out of this situation. Last year, my wife and I argued about what to spend our limited Christmas funds for. My wife wanted a fur coat and I wanted a new car. Therefore, we compromised. She got her fur coat, but we keep it in the garage. So out of the cross-referencing, we get a gag, fairly basic, but the more you write, the more you find.